Alright team, back on another bike, and I am on the Ducati Monster 659, and this is one, like, straight up, this is the one that I've been looking forward to. And in the short ride from MotoMart to the city, where I'm going to do my standard around town how does it go, I've already decided that this is my favourite bike so far. And now if you watched the last video, you'd see that I really rated that Honda, the CBR 650R. That was a great bike. This is different, and I'd actually say that the Honda 650 is better in a few ways. But this thing just rides the way that I want to ride, and that's what's important. First facts and figures, I guess. This is a 659cc motor. Where the f is neutral on this? There we go. 659cc motor, which is the 800cc block, but they shimmed it down to be Lambs approved. So it is still the big block, so you still got a little bit more weight than you might think. It has got dual Brembos up the front there, and they're floating. 50 horsepower. Pretty much on the money, which is basically any 600cc Lambs bike is going to be around that 50 horsepower, but this is a very different power delivery to that CBR 650R, which was like, that was a torque monster, whereas this one I want to be a lot more dicking around in the rev range. Like this has this is a V-twin, and getting this away from the lights, like where I'm usually sort of thinking, oh yeah, 2,000-3,000 is enough to kind of get it going, like nah, I want to be really revving it sort of around that 3 to 5, even just around town. And that's partly because I'm a wanker, but that's also partly because that's just, it seems like that's where the engine wants to be, which is, you know, I'm cool with that. I mean, I'm super cool with that. I would like to put a pipe on it. I feel like that would make a huge difference. In terms of geometry, I'm really enjoying this bike. I'm flat-footed, both feet on the ground, and once on the pegs I feel very comfortable. This tank isn't as wide as it looks. It really tapers in. It's got a very tiny waist on it, so you do get your knees quite close together, which it didn't look like it was going to be like that, but there you go, it was. Oh, KTM 390, I've ridden one of those. G'day mate. I would say the only thing negative, which is actually a really easy fix about the geometry on this for me particularly, is the bars. I just feel like they've got a little bit too much sweep, and I'd kind of like them rolled forward a little bit higher, but like I'm talking small increments. It's really just a bar change, which, you know, go to your store, get a set of Renthols that you like, try them out, go from there. That's an easy fix. Other than that, I think the geometry on this is absolutely ideal for me. Definitely finding myself looking in the windows to see how cool I look, and you know what, I look pretty damn cool. Does that pretty girl think I'm cool? So she's playing coy, she's not looking right now, but she knows. Oh, there you go. I feel like if I had an exhaust on this, I could give it a rev and then she'd be like, oh, that's how cool he is. Yeah, I really like this bike. Shit, where to start? So I think the difficult thing is when you really like something, you start really looking at its flaws. And I think the thing that I would really like about this, as I said, I would like some handlebars that were a little bit different. I just feel ever so slightly cramped, not in a huge way, but just ever so slightly. But I tell you what, I'd really like a nice big exhaust note. I'd really like to be making some noise. I just want to be able to pull up at the lights and give it a rev, and then all the pretty girls know that I'm available. But yeah, this definitely feels like one of those motors that's like, yeah, I'll go around town, I'll put around town for you. Like, I'll do it, but I don't want to do it. I'd much rather be out doing something more fun. Does feel very stable. Like, I obviously did a little bit of a motorway stint to get here, and very stable on the motorway, very stable. And I also found that instead of just like on the CBR, you could kind of just sit in 6th gear, and then if you wanted to pick up the pace a bit, you could just, you know, twist it on and use that torque. This doesn't really have that kind of torque. It's this is much more of a use the right gear and then, like, you know, so drop to 4th, and then kind of decide, yeah, okay, I'm going to go and get a bit of speed up. I'm definitely looking in the reflections and I look pretty cool, even though I was rolling around in neutral. What a dick. The riding position is interesting on this. Like, it is definitely more upright than the CBR or like any real sports bike, but it's not as more upright as I thought. Like, I kind of, you know, you've got with your sports bikes, you know, you ride over the tank and that's cool, and then with your adventure bikes your back's pretty much straight up and down. Same with a cruiser. This is kind of halfway between, I'd say. And because it's halfway between, I think it kind of gives you the best of both worlds, because you've got that upright riding position. If you're doing a fair bit of commuting or whatever, then you're not going to find yourself at a point where you're like hunched over all day and you're not enjoying a long time of doing it. But the other good thing about it is that when you're riding aggressively, which on a motorcycle like this, why would you not, it's going to give you that ability to still kind of be up over the tank and like leaning around a bit and having a bit of fun from that point of view. So I think it's actually quite a good trade-off, being not super upright, but then yeah, you can kind of get down on it when you want to, which I think that's a really good trade-off actually. But we need to go find some windies to prove that point. I think something cool about the riding position in this is that it's, as I was saying, it's nice because you've got the option if you want to be kind of, you know, a bit upright or a bit over it. But the other thing that also has apparently done, which I've only really just noticed having a wee motorway jaunt, is that it's one of the positions where I don't feel like I'm either leaning on the bars too much or pulling back on them at all. I just feel really neutral, and having a nice neutral riding position is quite nice. And I definitely feel like this isn't the kind of bike where I need to be like off the seat and like leaning around, you know, around bends. I mean, you can do that, do whatever you want, it's your bike if you buy it, but I feel like you don't need to do that. I feel like you can kind of, it's quite versatile in the fact that you can ride it kind of however you want. If you want to do that kind of MX style at low speed, cool, go for it. If you want to go like semi-moto GP and kind of lean off a bit and get over off the tank, yeah, you can do that. I'd say that the suspension on this is a little bit firmer than the Honda, and I'm gonna guess, I could be wrong, that this is ever so slightly lighter as well, but regardless, it still handles very, very nicely, and for the most part it's as smooth a ride as the Honda, but I would say it's definitely a little bit firmer than the Honda, but not by a lot. Definitely very confidence inspiring. Like, it just feels like it's just gonna grip all day every day, which is quite cool. I mean, confidence on a bike is probably one of the most key things to riding well, and this definitely gives me a lot of that. That said, the CBR 650R also was a very confidence inspiring bike. I feel like this one's probably okay, I'm a good couple of hours into a ride now. Initially, thanks MotoMart for letting me just bugger off with this for the day. And I think we've got to address the undeniable that this is an incredibly sexy motorcycle from every angle. Love that. But it really would benefit from an exhaust. It just doesn't sound as good as it looks. But other than that, I think this is my favourite motorcycle that I've had the pleasure of test riding. So I'm going to go do some more of that because I can. It's kind of funny really, isn't it? Okay, let's go do some windy stuff, because if you know where we are, you know where we're going. What an absolutely brilliant motorcycle on an absolutely brilliant piece of road. Had some GoPro issues there, so I missed a bit of this part of the road, but I gotta say, this thing rides the way that I want to ride, and it's real happy to be sort of slow and fast out of corners, and then you get that kind of acceleration out, which I really like. I'm not real sure how close I am to its overall lane. I haven't scraped it yet, but this is the thing about these kind of bikes, I highly doubt I'm anywhere near it, to be fair. And the reason I say that is because I know where my skill level is and I know where my confidence is, and assuming the capability of this motorcycle there's a lot of gap between those two things. And I think that's one of the things I like about these kind of bikes, like between the CBR 650R, this the other CBR, the naked one, and just bikes of this sort of, you know, like this basically super bike but not, is that because they come with all of the bits and pieces off the bigger bikes, like the suspension, the brakes, the frame, everything, they are so damn capable, they're just not quite as fast. And I think that what that means as a translation is that there's no reason you can't corner this as fast as one of those, and I'm sure as hell not doing that because I'm not that skilled, and I know that. I guess what that then means is that I'm not going to outride this bike. I definitely have already outrid this bike in terms of its power, like the amount of times I've just had it flat pinned and like wanting it maybe a little bit more. Can we just take a minute? I mean, look at this. Look at it. This is, if you're not familiar, this is the Rimutaka Road, whatever you want to call it. And this takes us from Wellington over to wine country, Featherston, and then also Martinborough. And this road is just, I mean, look at it, it's just all this, and it's actually a really good quality road. There is a little bit you got to worry about in terms of rocks on the ground and stuff, but not a lot. And yeah, just overall it's just all this, just like, even just cruising along behind this guy, I'm just like, oh, I feel the just, I love this bike. Honestly, if I could just change these handlebars and throw a can on it, this would be, I wouldn't do anything else. And then this then becomes a really, really great commuter. But then also when you decide, okay, you know what, I actually want to go and have a bit of fun with the boys and girls, you know. But yeah, this is definitely something that's going to be a lot of fun for this sort of thing, because it is very capable in that sense, very, very capable, as was the CBR. But it's also this, I would say, if you're planning on doing a fair bit of commuting and you want to, you know, you're doing a bit of, not necessarily sitting in traffic, but you know, where you're just sitting on the bike for half an hour and you're really just plodding along, I think this is going to be a little bit better than a sports bike in terms of just comfort, because you've just got that slightly more upright seating position, and you're just not so cramped down on it, you know. But then the good trade-off that you get is that when you decide you want to come and ride roads like this, oh, you're just having a ball. Hey, Blue Swift. Something that may have just occurred to me, and this might be something that other new riders find as well, is like, I know how fast I can put my personal motorcycle into a bend. I know, like, I've just done it so much. With a bike that I don't know, I'm less inclined to go in fast and try and carry speed, and I'm more inclined to go in slow and come out fast. And the thing I like about this bike is that it is very, very good, and it's so much fun to go in slow and then just pin it and just get all of that torque and just let it wind out, and you feel it. Oh, it's just so good, so good, especially on roads like this. Well, what can I say? That has been the Ducati Monster. I can't say anything. It's brilliant. It's my favorite so far. Rides awesome, goes awesome. There's a couple of things I'd do to it straight out of the box if I was to buy one, which I absolutely shouldn't do because I'm irresponsible, and this is going to encourage that. But it's so cool. Oh, brilliant. But yeah, no, if you've enjoyed the video, get liked and subscribed. There's going to do more of these, obviously, because this is a hell of a lot of fun. Big shout out to MotoMart for making this possible, and also the CB that we already did. And yeah, we will see you on the next one. And also, don't forget, we've got the actual Learn to Ride like series coming. Like episode 1's out, episode 2's in the works. We're getting there. Yeah, just with Christmas everyone's a bit busy, so but I still want to try and bang it out soon, so keep an eye on that. And yeah, if there's any questions that you've got about these bikes or things that you want us to put into the actual Learn to Ride series, just hit me up, whichever your favorite contact method is, and we'll try and make sure that the content's really good for everybody, because yeah, I'm really just talking about the stuff that's becoming apparent to me at the time. But yeah, thanks for watching. This bike is awesome. You should 110% buy one. They're really cool. Alright, we'll see you next time. Cheers, team.